Have you ever wanted to crochet your own top for summer, or maybe even layer it up for winter? You've clicked on the right video, so let's get started on the lesson. For our supplies, we're going to need a pair of scissors, a yarn needle, a crochet hook that goes with your yarn, some stitch markers. Many we need, but I know we need at least 2 and I think maybe 3, but I've put 4 in, 1 for good luck. Today I am going to be using 100% cotton for this project. Have you ever wanted to crochet your own top for summer, or maybe even winter, so that you can layer it up? You're in the right place. So let's get started on the lesson. Yarn, which is an 8 ply here in Australia, number 3 weight in the US, and a DK in the UK. This is colour number 91, and this is the darker of the 2 colours that I have here. I'm using 2 different colours because I only have 3 of each one. And I've also got colour 90. They're next to each other, so 90 and 91 on their colour of availability. As you can see, they do look quite similar, but there is enough of a difference so that you will be able to see the stripes. I'm hoping the 6 balls are going to be enough. If I use more, there will be details on the screen. Here's some more details in case you need them. We are going to be using a 4mm crochet hook. You can see there it is a light number 3 weight yarn. These are only 50-gram balls, so that's why I've got 3 of each. I'm hoping this is going to be enough. Like I said, if you need more, there'll be more on the screen. I am an Australian ladies 10, which is a USA size 6. Obviously, if you're a bigger size, then you're going to need more yarn. If you're a smaller size, you're going to need less. This is a recipe video where we take measurements and make it to fit our own. I am using a 4mm crochet hook. So what we want to do is find a shirt that we already like, and I'm going to be basing my measurements off this singlet top. I find that it covers my bra straps really good, and at the back it doesn't show any bra strap. Okay, that's showing, but this is actually a crop top. But I know when I wear a bra, it doesn't show any of my bra. So I'm going to base the measurements off this shirt. So if you have a shirt that you like the way it fits, then we're going to use that. What you could also do, so let's just say this is a bra strap, which it's not, it's literally a crop top, but we'll say this is a bra strap. What you could do is measure across your bra strap and then probably add an inch to that measurement so that you know that it's going to cover your bra strap when you're wearing it. So we're going to measure across our top and we're going to measure across here. We also want to measure from here down to here. You don't really need to take a measurement if you're making it for yourself because you can keep trying it on, but a measurement from here to here if it was for someone else. So it's just below the armhole, just so you know when to start your increasing. See, can you see on this top how just here it starts to get wider? That's where you're going to be making your increases. So we're going to measure across the top here. And I can see that is 5 centimeters. This does not measure in inches. 5 centimeters, is that an inch? 2 inches across there. So we're going to take that measurement. And then, like I said, if it's not for you and it's for someone else, you do want to take the measurement from here down. You could take these measurements on a shirt that you're not wearing because that'd be way easier. So I'm going to go to about there. So what's that? 15 centimeters. So that's my measurement. You want to go about, let's see what that is, about there. Going to go about 3/4 inch or 3 centimeters below where your armpit starts, just here. Of course, if you want your armhole depth lower, then you are welcome to go lower. But if you want it up, so you want it to be able to cover your bra strap that comes across here, then obviously you want it a little bit higher in the armpit there. Also too, you could take a measurement from the top here down to where you want it to come across. So mine is 19 centimeters. Okay, I need to write these down because otherwise I'm going to forget. So it was 5 across there, and I can just measure myself off camera for the other one. So 5 centimeters. So you're going to grab your yarn and make a slip knot. You can do this any way you like. There are hundreds of different ways to do that. This is how I make mine. Did you notice that I'm like totally matchy-matchy with my crochet hook and yarn? So we want to take our measurement that we took. So for me, it was 5 centimeters, and this was the width of the strap that we want that starts at the top of the strap there. I'm going to use the foundation double crochet, but if you don't want to do that, you can make chains and then double crochet back across if you feel more comfortable. What you will do is you'll make your chain to the 5 centimeter mark, then you'll add 3 more chains and double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook, and then double crochet all the way back across. So to start the foundation double crochet, we want 3 chains, and then we're going to double crochet in that very first chain. Before we complete our double crochet, we're going to bring through our yarn, and then we're going to make a chain. Then we're going to yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. If you need a more detailed video on this, I do have one, and it's going to pop up just here on the screen. It is a very good technique to learn because you can use it in a number of different ways. Put your yarn over, go into the chain stitch that you made previously through both loops there, yarn over, pull through, make your chain, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. If you know how to do this, then continue on and make your foundation double crochet, and I'm not sure how many I'm going to need to make. Probably won't need to make very many, so I'm going to do this one and then I'm going to measure to make sure I don't think that's long enough, but make sure I haven't gone too crazy. I actually like this tape measure. Is this when industrial meets crochet? So I'm going to measure the bottom of the chain, not the top of the stitches. So we are up to 4. How many stitches? There's 2 per centimetre, so I need to do 2 more stitches. Also too, you can just compare this to the shirt that you're making it to. I'm literally still wearing the same shirt that I just showed you, so I can just put it up against that. Let's measure the bottom. So that's 5, it's just under 5 centimeters for me, but let's do 1 more stitch. Sorry, was that even in camera? You have a very small space to work in when you're making tutorials. Now I'm talking and forgetting where I'm up to. Make a chain and go through 2, go through 2. Okay, that's better. More happy with that. I'm just going to check it against my shirt. Yep. It actually fits across, so that's good. So now what we're going to do is grab one of our stitch markers. I only had 2 blue stitch markers. That's okay. I will have to just live with it. We're just going to put it on here around any of our stitches, anywhere on there. Doesn't matter where you put it. And what this is going to do is mark the right side of our work. We're going to turn our work around and we're going to make a chain 3. If you have another way of doing a double crochet at the beginning of a row, an alternative double crochet, go for it and use that. Into the next stitch, we're going to work a double crochet. And we're going to double crochet all the way across until we get to our last stitch. What is that? That was me pulling out yarn and then it's just all got tangled up. And I know you're all going, yep, been there, done that. Okay, let's just crochet all the way across. And then don't forget your last stitch. When it's like that, it looks like we've done the last stitch. If we just pull that last stitch out slightly, now you can see we haven't worked into it. So we're going to yarn over and we're going to go into that chain 3. If you have problems keeping track, use a stitch marker into that last stitch. It's perfectly okay. Okay, so then we're going to turn our work. We're going to do exactly what we did on the previous row. We're going to chain 3. And we're going to yarn over and double crochet into each stitch. And we're going to repeat this row . I don't work with cotton very often. It behaves in a different way. You can see on my strap here that it is straight and then it starts to increase here. So what we want to do is we want to crochet. I'm just going to pop that up the top. And this is with the stitch marker here on the outside. I'm just lining the top there with a seam on my singlet or tank top, whatever you call them. And you can see here that this starts to increase out. So what we're going to do is we're going to start increasing on this side, but not that side. We're going to put a stitch marker over here. So we're just going to grab our work and put a stitch marker on that side. So when we get to this side, we're going to put an increase, but not on that side yet because it's not down to our armpit down here. Still got a couple of rows to go. So let's do a couple with an increase on there. You may need a different amount of rows than me. I think I need to work maybe 3 rows of increasing just on this side, and then I'll start increasing on that side. But we're going to start our increases. So I've done my chain 3, so I've done my first stitch, and I want to crochet back into there, and that's going to give us an increase. And then we're just going to double crochet all the way across. When we get to the end, we're just going to put 1 double crochet into the last stitch. Turn your work around, and because on this end there is no stitch marker, we know we don't need to do any increases, so we're going to crochet in the next stitch, not that same stitch. But then when we get to the end of this row, there's going to be the stitch marker that's reminding us to do an increase. So I'm going to double crochet all the way across. I'm up to my last stitch, which is just here. Why am I making this look so hard? And then into that last stitch again, we're going to work another double crochet. If you want to, you can move this stitch up a bit. Actually, I am going to do that because I am that person that will forget. So then we're going to turn our work around. We're going to do our first stitch. And because we have our stitch marker, we're going to work a double crochet back into that same stitch. So it's that first stitch there. And then we're going to double crochet across. And because when we get to the end, there is no stitch marker, there's no increasing, it's just one double crochet in each. And we're going to turn our work, do our first stitch, and because there's no stitch marker, there's no increasing, so we're going into the second stitch there, crocheting all the way across. Up to our last stitch, and we are going to work 2 double crochet into this stitch because we have our stitch marker there, and that is reminding us to increase. Now I'm going to check this to myself to see if this, so this would be like that. And that's the inside that's going across our chest. And this is the bit that's coming down to our armpit. So I just want to check my measurements there. So you're going to get your crochet with your... Okay, why do I keep going to call this a slip stitch? It is a stitch marker. Claire, get with the program. I'm going to pop this up with the stitch marker on the outside, up with our seam on our top. And you can see that's starting to come in ever so slightly there. And then on this side, I think I can start doing increases on this side now. So now we're going to put a stitch marker on this side. Got my stitch marker on this side. And then that's going to remind us that we need to now do an increase at each end. So we have our stitch marker on each end. So that reminds us to do our increases. So we need to do one on this end. I'm just going to move this stitch marker up because if it's not in my face, I'm not going to remember what it's for. So we're going to do a chain 3 and we're going to do an increase. So we're going into that same stitch again and into each stitch across. Pause the video and I'll meet you when we are at the end. I'm just working into my last stitch here. My very first double crochet, and then because we've got a stitch marker, we need to do another double crochet into that same stitch. So now we're just basically doing an increase at the beginning and the end. So we turn our work, do our first stitch and double crochet into that same stitch. We're going to double crochet all the way across, and then we're going to work an increase into that last stitch because we have a stitch marker. I'm going to repeat this, so I'm going to do this row and then another row, and then I'm going to measure to see if it's at any stage I need to do anything different. So pause the video and I'll see you there. This is the shape I've created so far, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 altogether. So I'm just going to try this on to see how it sits. So we're going to get the stitch marker on the outside and we're going to pop that up at the top. And then, ooh, I like it. I love how that's shaping. And this starting to come under there. And that is the length. I'm sorry if I have not shaped under my arms. Did not think about that when I woke up this morning. Yeah, that's starting to curve under here. Just realised I have not shaved under my arms. That's just horrible. Ew. And it happens. It happens. We are all human. And so it's starting to go across here. So I'm loving that. So I think that is where I need to stop. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's where I'm going to stop for this side. So now we want to make one for the other side. So basically, we're going to follow the same method. We're going to make the same amount of chains that we did across there, or the same amount of foundation double crochets that we have on our first row. And then we're going to put it up here. See how it doesn't transfer though. So that's that side. If you put this on that side with it the right side out, it doesn't transfer properly because it's off. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow the same method. We're going to make our stitches for across the top, and then we're going to come down. We're going to count how many rows we've done here as well. So let me just have a look before I did my increasing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've done 7 rows before I've started my increasing. You can see there. And then it gradually gets wider. So we're going to do that. We're going to come down. We're going to take note on where it gets wider here. This is not the right shape though. So it's going to be an opposite to this. But the easiest way is just to pop it on, do the same amount of double crochets before you started your increasing, which I think is about there. And then follow that, increasing like that, and then increasing like that. Make the other side of your top. Pause the video and I'll see you there. So I have both pieces finished. We've got the right sides there, so I'm just going to pop them on. And hope they stay there. There we go, we have both sides of our top done. Now you've got to think, well, how do I make this bit join? But we're going to make some chains across here under the arm to join to the back. So what we want to do is measure between here and here. We're going to measure, and mine is 8 centimeters. Excuse me, 8 centimeters. Yep, 8 centimeters is going to give a little bit, so don't worry if it's a little bit. Just checking. So it's 9 centimeters. Is it 9 centimeters? Oh, goodness me. But this tiny little viewfinder on my camera, and I'm trying to see where it lines up. So the one where I need my yarn still attached is on the right hand side, and the one where I've finished it off is on my left hand side. And you want to make sure you have both right sides facing. This is when these stitch markers come in handy, just to know that that's our right side. So I'm going to pick up my work. I'm going to work my chain, and I'm going to crochet all the way across. So now we want to make our chains that are 8 centimeters. I have no idea how many I need, so let's have a look. Nope, there's more than that. I'm not counting my chains, I'm just making them. Okay, then that's too many. That's 8 centimeters. I'm not stretching that right out, I'm just until the tension's gone. Sorry, the slack has gone. So that's 8 centimeters. So that's great. Then we're going to pick up our other piece, and that was just sitting to the side, so I know it's the right side up. And we're going to double crochet into the first stitch. So yarn over. It's a little bit fiddly because we've got nothing to work on. I want to keep our tension quite firm so that it doesn't all go loose. Ooh, get under there. And then work that stitch and then double crochet all the way across. Loose, tension's gone loose. So double crochet all the way across. So you can see that I have this joined at the bottom. This is where my yarn, this is where I've crocheted and stopped there. I've still got my yarn attached. I've just pulled a loop out so it doesn't fall, well, the stitches don't fall out. And now we've got to create the back of our project. And we're going to double crochet on the other, sorry, got to have this. Just flip that over. You want to have your stitch markers for the right side. We want to have those on the right side. And now we're going to crochet across here on the other side of our chain. Then we're going to make a chain and then crochet across the other side on there. And what we're going to do is we're going to start on this top corner. So we're going to join our first stitch into our very first stitch here. Going to grab our yarn and pull through. What we're going to do is we're just going to work double crochets all the way across. I'm going to do my chain 3 and I'm going to double crochet in each stitch across. So we're working on the other side of our foundation chain. You may have just made a chain and then double crocheted across, but either way you're just working into your chain. Make sure we're getting that last stitch. I counted all the stitches across here, so it's 46 stitches. So 46 minus 9 minus 9 equals 28. So the chains across here should be 28 for me. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, so I've done my 28 chains. You're going to have a different amount, don't forget. I'm going to just move that across, and hopefully that to there is 28 chains. Oh my gosh, Claire, you're going straight to the top of the class. Must have listened to something in maths. Yeah! Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So excited. Okay, so now, without twisting our chain, which I've probably done, that looks good. I'm going to pick up this next bit and we're going to double crochet into each stitch across. So yarn over. This is tricky again, like that little bit we did before. Keeping your tension all here. Yarn over, make a double crochet. And then, oops, double crochet all the way across. And then we're going to turn our work around. Just make sure you don't get tangled. What is going on here? Don't get tangled. What am I doing? I am seriously getting tangled. Like, okay, to save my sanity, I might just finish this off. I've just pulled out a stitch. Happens to the best of us. I am actually going to finish that off because that yarn attach is going to drive me up the wall. So I'm just going to put the stitch marker on the side there and that'll just let me know where we finished off. Oops, what's going on? Get in there. There we go. Okay, and then I'm just going to cut that off because 2 balls of yarn on the same project just twists around, and I'd rather enjoy this project rather than want to throw it in the corner. Okay, so that yarn ball is now detached. We've only got to play with one. So now we have attached with the chain at the back. If you want, you can try this on. This bit goes behind your neck. The back of this vest is super duper easy. We are only going to crochet down to the armpit like we did before. We're not going to crochet all the way down to our waist because that's not going to work. Well, it will work, but then you'll have 2 seams on the side. Personally, I cannot stand there's 2 seams on the side when there's a project and you make a front and a back and you've got to stitch it together. Ugh, no, I don't like those ones personally. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain 3 or whatever stitch you've been using. And we're going to crochet all the way across. There is no increasing, there is no decreasing. So this is the easy part of the pattern. We're going to double crochet all the way across. So we're going to go across this sleeve we have here. Sleeve isn't really a sleeve, is it? Whatever this bit is. And then we're going to double crochet into our chain as well. I like to crochet under 2 loops. I don't know, I just feel like it's more secure. I literally just realised that one of my lights wasn't on. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. The sun's out, so I've got light behind me. All these things that you don't think of when you're watching a tutorial, what the person's done to make it look good. We are going to double crochet all the way along our chain and then also double crochet to the end. Pause the video and I'll see you there. Crocheted all the way across and now I'm going to turn my work. So I'm just going to do my chain. Do you chain and turn your work or turn your work and then chain? I am in this habit of chaining first and then turning. Going to skip this first one because we've just done the chain stitch as our first stitch. So we're going to go into the next one and we're going to double crochet all the way across. Basically, we're repeating this row until we have the same amount of rows that we have on the front of our crochet. So crochet all the way across, get to the end, turn and crochet back across again. So we're just going to complete this until we have as many rows as we do on this front section. So I have my shirt and I just wanted to like check in and show you what I'm up to. So I've got my shirt there, it's going to come down like so, and then I'm just starting the back. Obviously, quite a few rows to go until I am the same length as this one. I think I've done like 3 rows on the back, I'm not sure. I didn't count them before I got on here. So I've got about 3 rows done so far. So yeah, really excited about how this is working up. That should go back slightly. There we go. So pretty good. I'm very happy with how this is turning out. And let's continue with the back and I'll meet you when we are up to the same level. That looks weird. It looks like it's sitting weird, but once we crochet, it'll pull it all down and it'll look fantastic. Love it. I have my crochet back finished. You can see there, I'm just going to pop it on. And you can see there that it's even. I can't reach. And you can see there that under the arm we do need to add chains in to join that up. So happy with how this is coming along. It looks really good. So I don't have to do too many chains, maybe about that much. So that's 10 centimeters, but it actually could come in slightly. So that much. So about 6 centimeters. So I probably go to 7 just so it's not too tight. Feels about there, so that much. I just moved my fingers. What was I doing? About there. Yeah, so more like 8. More like 8 centimeters. This doesn't have inches, this ruler. How annoying. 8 centimeters. So I want to make my chain 8 centimeters on both sides. And then after I've done the chain section, I am going to try it on just to make sure I can actually get it on. So now I need to make my chain about 8 centimeters, and we are going to want to count these because we need to do the same on the other side. So that's 12. need 8 centimeters. I just do 2 more. Yep, that has got us to 8 centimeters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, everybody, remember 14 stitches. So this is the back of my work. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to the front. And we're going to fold it down like as if you were looking at the project like it would be finished. So this is the front and the front over here. And then that's the back. And we're just going to grab this corner. So this is our front corner. Making sure our stitches are not twisted. Grab this stitch. So this is my front underarm corner. I'm going to yarn over. We're going to double crochet into the top of that first stitch. I'll just move that crochet out of the way so it's got a different coloured background. And then we're going to double crochet until we get to the other underarm. So currently at the moment we are crocheting along the front of our work. So I'll just give you a different angle there. We have joined under the arm and we're crocheting across here. We will crochet into the chains and then crochet across there. And then we'll stop at the underarm on the other side, and I'll meet you when we're ready to do the next step. I'm up to the other side, and this is the stitch marker where I cut off my yarn because I said it was going to tangle and just annoy me. And looks like I don't need it there, so I can take that out. Now we're going to make the same amount of stitches that we did on the other side. So for me it was 14 chains. You may have a different number. And then we're going to crochet into the other front corner. Now just make sure you're not twisting your work, because once this is joined, it's joined. So this is the front, this is the back. Can't really tell because it's the back. But you want to make sure that it's all flat. It's not twisted or anything like that. Sorry for flapping it around in your face just then, but we just want to make sure, because it's easy to fix it now. Oh my gosh, what is going on? What are all these threads? Get rid of that, get rid of that. Oh my gosh, now I've confused myself. And then we are going to crochet into this corner with a double crochet, just making sure that chain is not twisted. Because you can't untwist the chain, and it's a right pain in the backside if you accidentally twist it. Okay, so make sure your tension is good when we do this bit. Did I not wrap that? And then make your double crochet, and then we're going to double crochet all the way across. We've already done that one, so we're doing this one. So for anyone that's wondering, I've already used up one 50-gram ball and I'm on my second one, and that's how much I have left. So I don't know, if someone was wondering, then at least that's in the video, so you don't have to wonder anymore. What we're going to do is we're going to double crochet all the way across. My husband has just started mowing the lawn. Can you hear that yet? To me it sounds like he's out the front of the yard, but way down the front. We live on a farm, if anyone didn't know. We live on a farm, we've got 100 acres. And he sounds like he's down the front of those. So he shouldn't be too loud. So you'll see now, if you look at your work when you're crocheting, you'll see that there's no beginning or end of the round. I literally just noticed that myself. I don't know how I did that. But that's what I wanted to do, because we are not going to have any seams down the sides of our work, which I love. I love how this is turning out. It's so cool. I'm going to crochet around the opening. So you've got, this is the opening. I'm going to crochet around and around and around until we get the length that we want. I'm going to try this on so you can see what it looks like. So it's time to try this on. So now we actually have armholes. And what we're checking for now is that under here is not like super duper tight. Make sure your shoulders are lined up. Yeah, make sure it's not like super tight under here. Otherwise that is not going to give very much because it's a chain. Mine feels fine, and this is actually over a shirt. I've got my singlet top on still. This is actually over a shirt, so that feels fine. Now don't worry about this odd angle that we have here. When we put the edging on around here, this very harsh, I'm trying to think of the word, but this harsh right angle, almost a right angle here, is going to disappear when we add the edging, and it will make it more of a rounded neck like the singlet that I'm wearing. So don't panic if you think, oh yuck, that odd angle there just looks ridiculous, which I personally don't like it. So but I love how it comes together when we put our edging on. I have never made one of these tops before, but I have made plenty of tops where I've crocheted around the opening, and you'll be surprised how smooth and round this weird bit becomes once we add our edging. Love it, love it. So now we're just going to crochet around and around and around until we get this the length that we want it. I finished the length of my shirt, and you can see I've added my second colour at the bottom there. This is about how much yarn I have left over, and I'm going to be using that for the edging. Once we get to the length that we want, I've done my double crochet there, and I'm finishing under the arm. So this is under the arm, and then I'm finishing, oops, I've actually done a few too many stitches, so let's just pull that out. Where is it? Under the arm, in the middle, and then up from there. So when we're at that stage, we're going to do a half double crochet into the next stitch, and then we're going to work a single crochet into the next one. And I'm just going to grab a stitch marker. It'll just remind me where the beginning of the single crochet is. Just anywhere in there. And I'm going to single crochet all the way around. Now I don't have much yarn left, so I'm only going to work one single crochet round because I only have that much yarn. I'd say that's about half. I'm hoping I have enough. If not, I do have some other colours, and we'll just have to have a multicoloured shirt. I'm going to single crochet all the way around until I get back to my stitch marker. edging, I'm going to do a picot stitch, and the way we do that is we chain 3, and we slip stitch into the first chain, which is down here. And we pull our loop through, and we pull the loop through, stay on there, the one that's on our crochet hook. We're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches, actually I might do 3, I'm going to do 3, I'm just going to space it out a little bit, and then we're going to chain 3, slip stitch back down into the first chain, pull that all the way through, and then single crochet into the next 3. I'm going to repeat this all the way around. Pause the video and I'll meet you when we are back to our stitch marker. I'm back around to where I started, and I think by sheer fluke I've actually got the right amount of stitches. But if you haven't, let's say you need to space them out a bit, you could come back here and do 1 less, or you could do 1 more. When you're wearing it, you're not going to notice it. So I just need to do my last picot. How do you say it? I think it's picot. Picot sounds a bit weird. Sounds like a fence. So I've done that, and I'm just going to slip stitch back down into the same stitch to finish that off. Excellent. Cut off my yarn. I'm just going to thread that through there, and then just fasten that off, and then sew in your ends. We now have the neck and arm openings to finish off. I'm not going to do the picot around the armhole. I don't think I'm going to have enough yarn, to tell you the truth, and I'm hoping that this will get me around the neck opening. And remember how I said that this part, how it looks at a weird angle there? We're going to fix this weird angle now on our single crochet rounds. I am just going to work 1 single crochet round and then work the single crochet and picot round. I think that's all my yarn is going to give me. I'm not very good at judging how much yarn I need to use, but that's what I'm going to try. But we're going to join our yarn up at the back so that if we do have any sort of noticeable seam, it is at the back of our work and not the front. So I've just flipped it over. This is right side out. You can see I've still got my stitch markers for the right side still attached. It has helped me out quite a number of times. So I'm just going to, hang on, we need to turn it round. So it's still the right side out. So if you were going to put it on, this is the side that will be on the outside. And we're going to come to the back. So you can see it's still right side out because my stitch markers are here. And then we're just going to grab the back, because when we do our crochet rounds, we want it to be on the right side so that it looks good. I'm going to grab our yarn. You'll notice this is a different colour to this top section. That is because I literally didn't have enough yarn. I only had 3 where I've used 6 on this, so definitely wasn't going to have enough. So we're just going to join that in, and we're going to work a single crochet round. And I'll just get this out of the way. I am just going to work into each little loop on the top there. That's the other side of the chain that we haven't worked. So I'm going to single crochet into those, and I'm also going to crochet over my tail. So into, Let me just zoom that in a bit. I can't actually see. There we go. And then I'm going to single crochet over that as well. So work single crochets around. Just work it across the back, and I'll show you what to do when we get to that first angle. This is where the shoulder meets the back. And I've got one stitch left on the back here, so I'm going to crochet into that. I'm going to work a single crochet, but I'm going to leave 2 loops on the crochet hook. Then I'm going to work into this corner stitch here. It's not really a stitch, but you're just going to find somewhere to put the crochet hook. And then on our first stitch on our shoulder, but we're going to be working into the side of the stitch, we'll put our crochet hook through. Try and get 2 loops if you can, makes it more secure. We've got 4 loops on our crochet hook, and we're going to yarn over and pull through all of those. And what this does is this helps round off the weird corners that we've got at the moment. So we're going to crochet down here. There isn't a specific place to put your crochet hook, so you're going to do as best as you can. The key is you don't want to space them out too much, because not only will it make a tighter neckline, it is also going to look a little funny. So I'm going to put 2 single crochets in there. Sorry, was I on the camera before? So I'm going to do 2 into this loop. It's not a loop, the big hole there. And then in this little one there, I'm going to do 1. And what we're going to do is we're going to make sure it doesn't start to ruffle, because if it ruffles, it means we've put too many stitches along this edge. If we look at that, you'll see it's fairly straight, so that's good. If it was ruffling, if it was like that, then you know you've put too many in, but it's not. It will actually sit flat by itself. So we know that's good. That's a good ratio of stitches. So we're going to go down this side section until we get to the base of the neckline. I've still got all this to go. So crochet across until you get to the next angle. This is the double crochets across that chain we did for the bottom of the neckline. And then this is just some crochet that we're crocheting into the side of. Pause the video and I'll see you there. I've just reached the angle. This is the that's on your chest. So this is the bottom of the neckline. Does that make sense? We have crocheted across the top of the neck, and we've come down the front here, and then you can't see that because it's all the same color, and we're just going to crochet around here. So when I say we're at the angle, we're at this one here and then that one there, and then we're going to crochet up. There'll be another angle there, and then we'll crochet across. So you know how we were doing 2 single crochets into the little holes here? I've done 1 into the hole, but my second one is going to be part of the decrease. That weird stitch that we did before that had 4 loops, that was a decrease, so we're going to decrease around here. So I'm going to go into that in for the second single crochet into the hole, but I'm going to leave those loops, and I'm going to go in this hole here, pull up, and then I'm going to go into, see this double crochet, the base here, this is the chain that we've worked into. We're going to work into that again, and we're going to pull up a loop, and we have 4 single no we don't, we have 4 loops on our crochet hook. And we're going to yarn over and we're going to pull through all those loops. See if you can keep that quite tight with your tension, because we're decreasing and we don't want to make it all loosey-goosey, because then it kind of defeats the purpose, doesn't it? So now what we're going to do is we're going to single crochet all the way across into our double crochets that we have here. And then we're going to stop at this last, where is it? I would say it's here. Stop at our last double crochet, because we're going to work another decrease. Pause the video and I'll see you there. We've got our last double crochet there. So what we're going to do, we're going to decrease over this stitch, that stitch, and the next one. So we're going to go in the chain. I'm going to pull up a loop. But just pull that apart, might make it easier for you to see. I'm going to go in there. And then also in this big gap here, and pull up a loop. And we should have 4 loops on our crochet hook. So I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to pull through all of those loops. I need to do one more single crochet in this same loop here. Actually, having a different coloured yarn is making it quite easy for you to see it. So in this one, we're going to do 1 single crochet. So we're just repeating what we did on the other side. So it's 1 single crochet in there, 2 in that part. So it's basically 2 single crochets around the last stitch of the row. So if you hold it that way, this is the last stitch here. Because it's sideways, it just looks slightly different. Okay, so 1 single crochet in there. The thing I don't like about cotton is it splits. 2 in there. Repeat this until we get to the next angle, which will be up the top here somewhere. Here we go. So this is the top. This is our sleeve section. It's not a sleeve section. What is it? The front of your tank top. I don't know what you call it. And then this is the back section. So crochet along until we get to around about here, and then we'll do our decrease on that angle there. Pause the video and I'll see you there. We are up to the back section. So this is our back section, and that is that front section. So we now want to do our decreasing. That stitch looks a little loose, so let me just pop that back in. I've done, this is my first single crochet in that hole. So I'm going to do my second, but I'm not going to finish it off. I'm going to leave it like that. Into that part there, I'm going to do it's not a single crochet, what is it? I'm going to go in and pull up a loop. We've already done this 3 times, you know what you're doing. You've got 3 loops, and then we're going to go into the first, I just need to work out where it is. It is right there. I'm going to go into there and also pull up a loop. And we have 4 loops on our hook, and we're going to get yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. I haven't mentioned this, it's just occurred to me, but if you're having trouble pulling your yarn through your loops, if it gets stuck, now I'm saying this, I bet you it gets stuck. But what I do is I yarn over, but I twist my crochet hook, this part of the crochet hook, so that the hook part, the little bit there, is facing down. If you try and pull it that way, it's much harder. So if you face it down, when it goes to go through your loops, yay, it doesn't catch on anything. It doesn't normally, but being cotton it could be because it's so splitty. Do you like working with cotton? Let me know. I wouldn't say it's one of my favourites. So now we're just going to double words. I swear I'm not drunk. I'm going to single crochet across. So now we are going to come up to where we very first started, because we are on the back section now. And this is what I have left. And you can see here it's starting to get thin. Who knows? Will I win at Yarn Chicken? Put in the comments section, am I going to win at Yarn Chicken? I personally think it's going to be a no. But we will find out. So it's single crochet all the way across, where are we? Until we get to the beginning there, and we'll carry on from there. Pause the video, I'll meet you there. Once we get back to the beginning, we're going to join with a slip stitch into the first single crochet. So we're just going to go in there and work a slip stitch. So now you can work more rounds of single crochet. When you get to those weird angles, if you think that you want to make it more rounded, do another decrease like we did. We worked over, did we work over 4 stitches? 1, 2, no, we worked over 3 stitches. You could do decreases? That is now what they're going to be called, decreases. You can now work decreases over 2 stitches if you don't want to, or you don't need to bring it in a lot. We're going to chain 1. We're going to single crochet. Because I'm running out of yarn, I'm going to go straight into my picot round. So I've done my single crochet and then chain 3. Because I just really think I'm going to run out of yarn. 1, 2, 3. I'll definitely know after this round. But like I said, if you want to make more single crochets, more rounds, then it's fine. Go for it. So we're just going to repeat what we did around the bottom of our top. The bottom of our top. The bottom of our vest would sound better. Are you going to wear this as a vest, or are you going to wear it as a top? I might wear it as both, you know. You could definitely layer this piece. 1, 2, 3. Or you could just wear it by itself in summer. Which is probably more like what I will do. And funny story, I'm crocheting this and it is winter. We are just going into winter here in Australia. Which means my US friends are going into summer. Okay, continue on, working your way around. And I'll see you when we are ready to join. I have just done my last single crochet and I'm going to join into there. I was 1 stitch short, but this is the back, so I am not worried. If someone notices this, they are way too close to you. And you just need to sew in that end. Now I have this much yarn left. I don't think I'm going to make the armholes. Technically I would need to do 2 rounds on the armholes, but I don't think this is going to work. But I'm going to show you how to do this armhole. So we are going to start, you can start basically anywhere. I'm just going to start at the top of the shoulder here. So this is the armhole, this is the armpit section, this is the shoulder section. So having it facing the right side out still. So you're going to find this easy because it's basically what we did around the neckline. So you've got your loop there and then you've got that little stitch there and then your loop. So it's 2 single crochets into the hole, 1 into that stitch, 2 into the next hole. So basically that's what we're going to do. I'll show you how to do it anyway, just in case you're not sure. But I think you're going to find it easier because we've already done it on the neckline. Let's see if I can crochet over these ends so I don't have to sew them in later. Do you like sewing in ends? It's really not my favourite. So let's do 2 single crochets into this hole here. And then 1 into that little part there. I found some of mine were quite tight, but it doesn't matter. I'm wondering if it was like beginning of the row versus end of the row. So 2 into there. One into there. Two into there. One. Sometimes it disappears. Two into here. One into there. and so on. And eventually we're going to get down to the armpit section, and that's where we're going to have some double crochets to work in. So pause the video and I'll meet you when we're up to our armpit. What you can't see, you probably just hear that yarn ball. It's gradually getting closer to my hand. We are coming up to the armpit along here, and just like what we had on the neckline, we're going to have this angle here. So we want to work our decrease stitches. So in this one, I've done one single crochet. I need to do another single crochet but not finish it off, and then decrease over this one, that one there, and then the first double crochet on our armpit just there. So go in, pull up a loop, into that one, pull up a loop, and also into the first chain that is here, and pull up a loop. Got 4 loops, turn your hook so it's pointing down. Sometimes you have to wiggle it. Hold your tongue the right way and stand on one leg to get it to work, but it will work. And now we are up to the armpit of our top. And we're just going to single crochet into the loops that are just vacant here. Work your way across until you get over to here. Pause the video and I'll see you there. I have my last double crochet here. I have this little tiny corner stitch just there, and then our bigger hole just there. So we're going to do our decrease over that. So we're going to go into that first double crochet, pull up a loop, into the stitch in the corner, pull up a loop, and into this part here, pull up a loop. We've got 4 loops on our crochet hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through. Then we're going to work a single crochet into there. And then we're just going to continue up the side. So 1 in our little stitch, 2 in the big one, 1 in the little one, and so on until we get to, it'll be the top of the neck. Crochet along, pause the video, and I'll see you when we're there. I have 1 armhole done, and this is how much cotton I have left. Is that going to make the other side? Now you'll notice here that this bit, it doesn't look like it's a rounded neckline. It's because it's a different colour. If this was all the same colour, it wouldn't stand out like this, and it would look like a rounded neckline. I still love it regardless, but if you're wondering about this, that's just what it's done. Because it's different colour, it showed you exactly where it goes, where if it was the same colour as the main section, it would just all blend in and it would be rounded off. But I ran out of yarn, and that's why I've got that darker colour. But I still reckon it looks cool. So I've got to do the other arm here. So repeat what we did on this side, and I'll see when we're finished. I'm up to the end, and we're just going to join with a slip stitch. And did I win at Yarn Chicken? You'll see in just a sec. Yarn Chicken for the win. That is what I had left. Did you think I was going to win? I did not. I thought for sure I would not win. I did only do 1 round of single crochet on the armholes. So I didn't get my 2 rounds, but I didn't run out of yarn. So that is awesome. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy crochet. Bye.